There is a sense of curiosity surrounding the New England Patriots right now, especially after recent comments that quietly sparked a debate among fans. During a media availability, a simple answer from Elliot Wolf was enough to make people start wondering about something that many thought was already closed: the possibility of a reunion with Stefon Diggs. It was not a dramatic announcement, not a bold declaration, but it was enough to leave the door slightly open, and that alone has Patriots fans talking. When Wolf addressed the situation, he kept things measured, but his words carried meaning. He explained that the organization is always looking for ways to improve the roster, and that nothing is ever truly final when it comes to building a team. That kind of statement may sound standard on the surface, but when the conversation included Diggs' name, it immediately raised eyebrows. Because when a player is released and both sides move on, most people assume that chapter is finished. Yet Wolf's response suggested that the Patriots are not completely ruling anything out. And that leads to the big question: could a reunion actually happen? To understand why this situation even exists, it is important to go back to why Diggs was released in the first place. The decision was not simply about performance on the field. In fact, when you look strictly at his production, Diggs delivered exactly what the Patriots needed. He gave the offense a reliable target, someone capable of stretching the field and consistently moving the chains. But the reality of the situation involved several factors, including financial considerations and other off-field uncertainties that the organization had to evaluate carefully. The financial aspect was particularly significant. Diggs was scheduled to earn $28 million, a number that carries serious weight when a team is trying to balance its salary structure and create flexibility for other moves. By releasing him, the Patriots freed up around $16 million in cap space. That kind of financial breathing room can change how an entire offseason unfolds, especially when a front office is looking to reshape multiple areas of the roster. Despite the business side of the decision, there was no sign of bitterness when the move happened. In fact, Diggs himself showed a lot of appreciation toward the team and the organization. His reaction was filled with gratitude rather than frustration, something that does not always happen in situations like this around the league. And that mutual respect may be part of the reason why the possibility of a reunion is not being completely dismissed. From a pure football perspective, Diggs proved that he could still perform at a high level. During the 2025 season, he recorded 85 receptions and surpassed the 1,000-yard mark, averaging roughly 12 yards per catch while adding 4 touchdowns. Those numbers tell the story of a receiver who remained productive and reliable throughout the year. Even more impressive was his consistency when the ball came his way, as drops were rarely an issue when the offense targeted him. His impact also carried historical significance for the Patriots. Diggs became the first wide receiver for New England to surpass 1,000 receiving yards since Julian Edelman accomplished that milestone back in 2019. That alone shows how important his presence was within the offense, especially for a team that has spent several seasons trying to rediscover stability at the wide receiver position. However, the roster situation today is different from when Diggs first arrived. The Patriots have made several adjustments to their receiving group, bringing in new talent and expanding the number of options available for the offense. Romeo Dew is now part of the unit and is expected to play a major role. Demario Douglas continues to grow into a dynamic playmaker who can create separation and bring energy to the passing game. Keyshawn Bout remains a young option with upside, while veterans like Mac Hollins add experience and deep threat ability. Beyond those names, the room also includes players such as Jalen Polk and others who are still developing within the system. When you look at the overall group, there are already several pieces competing for snaps and opportunities. That creates an interesting dilemma when discussing the idea of bringing Diggs back into the mix. Because while his talent is undeniable, the Patriots must also consider how many receivers they realistically want on the roster and how those roles would be distributed. That is why many believe that if a reunion were to happen, it would likely depend on the type of contract involved. A deal similar to his previous salary would be difficult to justify considering the financial strategy the team is currently following. But if Diggs were open to returning on a more team-friendly contract, perhaps something significantly lower than what he was previously earning, the conversation could suddenly become much more realistic. In that scenario, Diggs would not necessarily return as the clear centerpiece of the receiving core. Instead, He would be part of a larger rotation where the defensive attention is spread across multiple players. That could actually work in his favor, allowing him to operate with less pressure and potentially create even more opportunities in the passing game. Still, there is another layer to this entire situation. The Patriots are not just thinking about depth or short-term fixes. They are actively searching for a true number one receiver who can transform the offense. If the team eventually lands that kind of player, whether through a trade or another major move, the need to bring Diggs back could disappear entirely. Because once you commit to a star receiver as the focal point of the offense, the rest of the structure changes. Suddenly, the roster spots become more limited, and the team must prioritize balance across the entire depth chart. That is why some see Diggs as more of a contingency plan rather than a primary objective. If other options do not materialize, he could become a familiar solution waiting in the background. And there is also the reality that Diggs himself controls part of this situation. As a free agent, he is free to sign with any team that presents the right opportunity. If another franchise decides to pursue him aggressively, the Patriots might not even get the chance to reopen negotiations. The league moves quickly during the offseason, and opportunities can disappear just as fast as they appear. That uncertainty is what makes Wolf's comments so interesting. By refusing to completely close the door, he acknowledged that the Patriots are willing to consider every possible path as they build toward the upcoming season. It does not guarantee anything, and it certainly does not mean a reunion is imminent. But it does confirm that the organization is keeping its options open while the rest of the offseason continues to unfold. While the conversation around Stefon Diggs has certainly captured attention, it was far from the only topic that surfaced during Elliott Wolf's media availability. In fact, several important subjects came up that reveal how the Patriots are approaching this new phase of team building. One of the biggest talking points involved a player many fans consider the cornerstone of the defense moving forward, Christian Gonzalez. When Wolf was asked about a possible contract extension for Gonzalez, his answer was brief but revealing. He acknowledged that the organization would absolutely like to keep the talented cornerback in New England for the long term. That statement alone confirms what many already believed. Gonzalez is viewed internally as one of the most valuable pieces of the roster, a player capable of anchoring the secondary for years to come. However, what surprised many observers was the fact that a deal has not yet been finalized. In today's National Football League, elite cornerbacks are among the most valuable defensive players on the field. They are responsible for neutralizing the opposing team's most dangerous receivers. And when a player shows the kind of ability Gonzalez has already demonstrated early in his career, teams usually move quickly to secure that talent with a long-term contract. That is why fans have been increasingly vocal about the situation. From their perspective, the sooner the deal is completed, the better. The timing of this conversation also comes shortly after another major contract around the league raised the market value for top cornerbacks. When a new benchmark is established, it can complicate negotiations for teams that have not yet locked in their own star players. Every new deal signed elsewhere tends to increase the price for the next player in line. For the Patriots, that means the longer they wait, the more expensive Gonzalez's eventual contract could become. Still, the organization may have strategic reasons for taking its time. Front offices often try to balance multiple negotiations simultaneously while keeping a close eye on the salary cap in future seasons. Even though Gonzalez is widely expected to receive a major extension, the Patriots may be carefully structuring their financial plans before committing to such a significant investment. Despite the uncertainty surrounding the exact timeline, there is little doubt about Gonzalez's importance to the defense. Since arriving in New England, he has quickly developed into a player capable of matching up with some of the league's most talented wide receivers. His combination of athleticism, instincts, and confidence has allowed him to stand out in a secondary that is already known for its discipline and physical style of play. If the Patriots are serious about building a contender over the next several seasons, keeping players like Gonzalez in the building will be essential. Elite defensive backs do not come around often, and when they do, organizations usually do everything possible to make sure they remain part of the long-term vision. Beyond the contract discussions, Wolf also addressed another area that has been under heavy scrutiny for the Patriots in recent years, the offensive line. Protecting the quarterback and establishing a strong running game remain two of the most important foundations for any successful offense. That reality has clearly influenced several of the moves the team made during the offseason. One of the most significant additions to the offensive line group was Elijah Vera Tucker. His arrival immediately provides versatility and strength to a unit that has experienced its share of challenges in previous seasons. According to the plan outlined during the press conference, Vera Tucker is expected to line up at left guard, bringing physicality and stability to the interior of the offensive line. That move also allows the Patriots to shift Jared Wilson into the center position, creating a new alignment across the middle of the line. The coaching staff appears confident that this combination will give the offense a stronger foundation heading into the upcoming season. When you look at the projected lineup, the structure begins to take shape with Will Campbell at left tackle, Vera Tucker at left guard, Wilson at center, Michael Onwenu on the right side, and Morgan Moses anchoring the right tackle position. On paper, that group has the potential to provide much better protection than what the Patriots experienced in recent years. Offensive line continuity often plays a major role in offensive efficiency, and the organization seems determined to establish a more consistent unit in front of their quarterback. Another encouraging update came regarding Vera Tucker's health. After dealing with a triceps injury in the past, some fans wondered whether he would be fully ready for off-season activities. Those concerns appear to be fading. The expectation is that he will be completely healthy and available by the time mandatory minicamp arrives in June. That timeline would allow him to participate in team practices and begin developing chemistry with his new teammates well before the regular season begins. For an offensive lineman joining a new team, that early preparation can make a huge difference. Learning the playbook, understanding communication calls, and building trust with the players lining up beside you are all crucial elements of a successful transition. The more time Vera Tucker spends on the field with the group during the offseason, the smoother the adjustment should be once real games begin. Perhaps the most intriguing theme to emerge from the entire press conference was the idea that the Patriots are once again becoming an attractive destination for players around the league. That perception represents a significant shift from the narrative that surrounded the franchise in recent seasons. There was a period not long ago when some free agents appeared hesitant about joining the team. Questions about the direction of the organization and uncertainty surrounding the offense made it more difficult to convince top players to choose New England over other options. But the atmosphere now seems to be changing. Several of the players who recently joined the Patriots have spoken openly about why they were drawn to the team. A recurring theme in those comments has been the culture that exists within the organization. Players often look for environments where they believe they can compete, improve, and be part of something meaningful. According to those who have signed with the Patriots, the current leadership has created exactly that kind of atmosphere. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy, share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. A quiet rumor has begun to circulate across NFL circles, but the kind that tends to grow louder with every passing hour. According to whispers around league insiders, the New England Patriots may be preparing a bold move that could shake the balance of the defensive landscape. The name at the center of the speculation is none other than star edge rusher MAXX CROSBY, currently one of the most relentless defensive forces in football. Sources close to the situation suggest that New England's front office has been monitoring Crosby's situation closely, exploring whether a blockbuster trade could even be remotely possible. Nothing official has surfaced, and no negotiations have been confirmed, yet the idea alone has sparked conversation across scouting departments and locker rooms. The Patriots, known for building dominant defenses through discipline and pressure, would instantly transform their pass rush by adding a player with Crosby's motor and production. Inside league circles, the logic behind the speculation is simple. New England has been searching for a defensive identity capable of dictating games again. Crosby, with his nonstop intensity, elite edge containment, and ability to collapse the pocket, represents the kind of centerpiece that can redefine an entire defensive scheme. Coaches across the league often describe him as the type of player offenses must game plan for before anything else. Of course, pulling off such a move would not be easy. Crosby remains one of the most valuable players on his current roster, and acquiring a talent of that caliber would likely require a massive package of picks and possibly key players. Even so, The Patriots have never shied away from surprising the league when an opportunity appears. For now, it remains speculation, the type of rumor that thrives in front offices and late-night conversations between executives. But if New England truly decides to pursue Max Crosby, the ripple effect across the NFL could be enormous. Sometimes the biggest stories begin exactly like this, as a whisper that suddenly refuses to disappear. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.